This episode contains discussions of suicide, which may be distressing to some listeners. If you or someone you know is struggling, help is always available. Go to findahelpline.com to access relevant services available in your country. Please take care while listening. Hey everyone, welcome to Crime Family. I'm your co-host AJ, and I'm here with my two sisters and co-hosts Lisa and Katie. And this week, Lisa is going to be leading us through another case. This is the Peter Bergmann case, and kind of like the last one that she did a couple of weeks ago. She wants us to kind of be hearing about it for the first time or like having our genuine reaction. So I don't think Katie knows too much about this case. I also didn't, so we could kind of be hearing it for the first time. I know kind of like the basics, but there's probably some details I don't know. So without further ado, Lisa will be telling us about the Peter Bergmann case.
Okay, so as AG said, this is the Peter Bergmann case. It's also called a case about the man who didn't exist. So this is actually different than what we usually do because I'm not even sure if a crime was committed. It's just a very mysterious case.
So it's more so like it's more like a mystery, not like a true crime
It's
necessarily, but like a
yeah,
mystery, maybe
and
crime.
no one ever this man is just a mystery. There's not a lot about not a lot about him. Thankfully, the CCTV that documents the whole 3 days I'm gonna talk about, and then I watched, like, an 18.5 little short about it. So, this is the case of Peter Bergmann, also known as the case of the man who didn't exist. On a quiet beach in a small town called Sligo, tucked away in the northwest corner of Ireland, in June 2009, a man named Arthur Kinsella and his son come across the body of a man lying on the beach. It looked like the man perhaps had drowned and washed up on shore. He was naked and his clothes were scattered everywhere. CCTV captures this man's journey from the bus station in Derry, from where he took a bus to Silco. He arrived in the late evening. He took a taxi to his hotel. The first hotel he tried was full. The second hotel he tried, the Silco City Hotel, had a room available. He registered in the name of Peter Bergmann. He signed in using that name with an address in a city called Wien in Austria, and no other identification was asked for, and he paid in cash for 3 nights. It appears as if the next 2 days go by without incident. This man is videoed many times coming and going out of the hotel, the post office. He bought envelopes. He would smoke cigarettes outside the hotel. He kept to himself. On Sunday, he took a taxi to a beach. He got out, surveyed the beach for about 15 minutes, and then goes back to his hotel. The following day, Monday, he checks out of the hotel, goes to a bus station to catch a bus back to that beach. His last known sighting of him alive was by a couple at 11:50 p.m. He was carrying a plastic bag and walking along the edge of the ocean. High tide was due to rise in half an hour. The next morning, his body would be found. So that's kind of that's kind of what I'm going to talk about in depth. So, like I said, there was a documentary called The Last Days of Peter Bergmann. They talk about each day in depth, so I'll do that. So, on Friday, June 12th, 2009, this unknown man boarded a bus in the Derry terminal. He explicitly wanted to go to Silco. As he's heard saying, he wants to get on the right bus to Silco. Silco is a place that is very uncommon for non-locals to travel to. So they think it was very odd. Like, they don't get a lot of newcomers to this city, but they remember he explicitly wanted to go to Silco. So he gets on the bus and he goes into the center of the city. And like I said, he tries one hotel first. No, there was no room. So he goes to the Sligo City Hotel. So he signs in using the name Peter Bergmann. He uses two N's. They say some countries there's only one N in that name. They say that in the country of Austria, most people use two N's in that last name. So that they kind of think maybe he is from Austria. And then he also gave an address in a city called Wind. Austria police say that such an address does not exist, nor has it ever existed. It's a vacant lot. So he had no other, they didn't ask for any other identification. He pays in cash and he goes to his room. So Saturday, June 13th, 2009, during the 3 days he was there, every morning he would come down from breakfast at about 8:30 a.m. and then go back to his room. Hotel staff noticed very early on, and you'll see this in the CCTV footage, that he had a purple plastic carrier bag with him at all times. He would have it with him every time he left the hotel, and every time when he returned, he didn't appear to have the bag. So on Saturday, on this particular day, he had gone to the post office in Sligo and bought 8 stamps and airmail stickers. Police were never able to establish where those letters were posted to, who the letters were posted for, or when he posted them. A hotel housekeeper staff goes into his couldn't get into his room one day to clean. They knock on the door, no one answers, so the desk attendant goes up and knocks, no reply. So she opens the door, and when she opens the door, she startles Peter Bergmann, who was just standing inside the door, almost like he was frozen. The hotel attendant goes on to say in this documentary, she's like they had caught him in the middle of something he shouldn't have been doing. But she says that he looks relieved that it was her and not someone else that maybe he had been expecting. So he goes in the room. Oh, you're there. So they leave. So he goes in and out. He walks around the city. He goes to the post office on Saturday. He comes back. He's smoking cigarettes outside, and then he goes back up to his room. Doesn't talk to anyone. He just keeps to himself. The next sighting on Sunday, June 14th. It's at 11 a.m. and CCTV sees him goes up to a taxi driver, and he has a map with him, and he points to this area called Strand Hill on a map that he had, and he asks the driver if there was a quiet beach because he wanted to go for a swim, and the taxi driver points out Ross's Point Beach, which is quieter and probably the best spot. So they arrive, and Peter gets out and has a look at the area, and he seems content with what he sees, and then instead of heading to the beach to go for the swim like the cab driver thought, just gets back in the cab and they return back to Sligo. So he just doesn't go for a swim. He just gets out, looks at the beach, kind of like nods, like and then gets back in the car. So he says he keeps to himself, and it's very hard to keep track of him because he keeps going in and out the hotel with this purple bag. And it becomes clear later on that he was disposing of personal property in and around Sligo, that was whatever was in this purple bag. So Monday, June 15th, the next signing, he comes to the front desk asking for a later checkout, and he mentions that he has some errands to run. So they let him stay longer, thinking he was waiting for a later bus or a train. So after he makes the request, he is seen leaving the hotel once again with the purple bag. And the police say now we know it was to dispose of the last few items he had. So he leaves the hotel shortly after 1 p.m. And when he leaves the hotel, he has 3 bags with him: a laptop bag, a black duffel bag, and his purple bag. And he walks from the Sligo City Hotel to the bus terminal. And somewhere along the way, what they cannot establish where, he disposed of the one black bag he had. So when he gets to the bus depot, all he has is 2 bags. He goes to a coffee shop. It shows him at a coffee shop at the bus station. He orders a cappuccino and a sandwich. He takes a piece of paper out of his pocket that appears to be writing notes on it. He gets on the bus and asks for a ticket to Ross's Point, that beach he went to and looked at the day before. And when they arrive, he gets out and heads to the beach. So witnesses on the beach that day say the beach is pretty much empty during the time he arrived. But a woman came forward who was on the beach and said when Peter arrived, he looked out of place because he was dressed in a suit. He was formal, and he was just kind of looked like he was pacing. The beach is kind of like on a narrow strip, and he was pacing back and forth, and he just looked out of place. Another witness on the beach that day said she noticed a man with his trousers rolled up to his knees. He was walking parallel to the water. He was bare feet and ankle deep in the water, and he had his hands behind his back. He was stooped, and he looked like he was just kind of in a daze, off in another world. And then another witness, well, 2 witnesses, a couple, said at night at around 10 or 11 p.m. that night, him and his girlfriend went to the beach after dinner and came across Peter Bergmann. Gray hair, black jacket, very pale skin. They said hello to him, and he just nodded back. And They thought it was weird that he was out so late at night on the beach, and but they said hi to him, he didn't answer, and off they went, and that's really the last time he was seen. So Tuesday, June 16th, a man and son are at the beach at around 6:30 AM. His son was training for a triathlon, and he said as the fog was beginning to lift, he noticed what he thought was a mannequin in the sand, which, we all know it hardly ever is. And when he got closer, he realized it was actually a human body, and right away, he assumes he drowned. So the police get called, and so this is, like, where it's just a lot of it's the strangeness really picks up. So when the police start to examine him, they find no evidence of foul play, there's no evidence of externally saltwater drowning. His clothes were all scattered, and all the tags are cut out of his clothes. Out of all of his clothes, the tags are cut out. He has no wallet, no passport, there's nothing. They don't know who this man is. When they do the autopsy, it's revealed that he had extensive prostate cancer, he had a tumor, there was evidence of previous heart attacks. The toxicology reports that there was no evidence of any painkillers or Tylenol or anything that you would normally see in someone who is obviously he must be in a lot of pain. There was no evidence he ever took anything recently for the pain. The police secured his fingertips, his DNA, and that was circulated to all police throughout, and he never popped up in any jurisdiction. So the police are confident that Peter Bergmann doesn't exist, and it's highly likely that he ever did. So, what do you guys think so far before I get into more?
Yeah, super weird. I find it weird. What do the police mean he didn't exist? Like, even by that name?
Like,
Like, that name
well,
doesn't
yeah,
exist,
so
but
so the
obviously he did.
actual yeah, so they say pretty much they say like they checked all passports throughout Europe, America, and South America, and no passport was ever that matches that a man with that description at that time. There was just nothing matches. There was no passport ever made out to the man that matches his description. Like I said, when he signs in, he gives them that name, Peter Bergman. Austria, a lot of people they spell that last name with two N's. The fact that he did with two N's, they thought maybe it's from Austria. He also gave a fake address from Austria that was just a vacant lot. There was never any evidence of Peter ever meeting anybody in Silco, or even talking on the phone in the 3 days he was seen throughout the city. Another interesting thing is that not one person in that city, that small city, ever saw him disposing of his things from that purple bag. So this guy, he he didn't care about being on CCTV, but when it came to disposing his stuff, he made sure he wasn't on any of the cameras. He was never seen on any cameras disposing of anything. So police searched every dumpster, every park. They went to the dump. They checked private backyards. They checked hedges. They checked vacant lots. They never found anything that, like any personal belongings of any sort. So he disposed of them out of view of camera. They've never seen. He's on camera walking with that purple bag. Where he puts his stuff is never shown ever throughout the city, which is crazy.
And
So
what I
he
was gonna ask, what kind of, I don't know if you said this, but what kind of bag was it? Like a
it's
purple
like,
plastic bag?
yeah, well, some people say, it was plastic. If you see the CTV, it looks like like a purple little, like, shoulder, like, those bags back, you had like, the drawstring bags? I don't know, it just he would hold it. It's just like a purple I can't tell if it's plastic or not.
Like a
It's just a
tote
purple
bag?
bag. Yeah, but he didn't have it over his shoulder, he was just holding it. And he like in this documentary specifically, it says, like, he would leave with the bag and leave the hotel with the bag and then come back without the bag, but I've read from other people that he would leave with the bag and it looked full, and when he came back, he had the purple bag, but it looked empty. So, throughout the day, he's disposing of stuff, but never on camera. So police think he knew exactly where this is all planned, he knew exactly where the cameras weren't, so he didn't care about being on camera, but he didn't want anyone to see what he was like, the things he was getting rid of, I guess, which is super crazy that he never got found on any of the cameras getting rid of anything.
Do you think
So,
that was a coincidence? Maybe it was
police
just
think that yeah, the police think that he mapped everything out, he knew exactly where the cameras weren't. Although a lot of people say, like, he a lot of people think that he was new to the area because he got a taxi or a bus to the center of the city, and locals know it's only like a 10-minute walk. But other people argued, it was kind of in the evening. Maybe he just didn't know the area. He didn't feel safe. I don't know. But people think, and a lot of people think, like I said, it's not a very common city for new people to come. So the fact that he chose that place to die is the one of the most puzzling parts to the police. It's just a weird, off the beaten track kind of place.
But even if he did map out, he knew where the cameras were, like, how does he know, like, if, like, a business or, like, a store has a camera or,
I
like, a
know, I
private
know,
house? How do they he doesn't know they have, like, security
I know.
cameras. It seems a little bit crazy that he would be able to figure all that out. But it also seems crazy
No.
that he got really lucky at the same
Yeah,
time. It's
yeah.
weird.
He never, ever in the 3 days. I mean, and it's like this CCTV footage is just it's crazy to watch because it's his last 3 days and he's always by himself. He doesn't talk to anyone. He has his purple bag and he just but he you never see you see him having coffee, you see him go to this post office, you see him smoking cigarettes, you see him on the phone, you never see him disposing of anything. And, like, it never goes to a garbage can. You ever see him at a garbage can throwing something out? It's just crazy. Inspector Ray Muldrin, of Sligo Police, he says that there seems to have been, like, a purpose to everything. Everything he did seemed to have, like, he planned everything from cutting all the labels off his clothes and all the rest of it. Like, he went to great lengths so he wouldn't be identified. The question everyone is asking, though, is why Silco? If you want a scenic place to die, there's many choices across the west coast of Ireland and even Scotland. They think something must have brought him there, but they're never able to say what that was.
Why cut all the labels off your clothes? Because
Right.
like,
Yeah.
it's weird because it sounds so similar to another case called, like, the Somerton Man, but this happened in, like, 1948. They found him dead on the beach, and he had cut all the tags off his clothes, but back then, like, you would, like, sew your name into the tags of clothes,
Yeah. Yeah.
so you could so that's why they think he cut his tags off, but, like, in 2000 what was this, 2009? You don't do that. You don't even like, adults usually don't write the name on the tags of their clothes. I don't know, it seems a weird thing to do.
Yeah, and in this, little documentary, it showed a police officer, Pax, has actually takes out of evidence the clothes that he was wearing, or the clothes that some people say he was naked on the beach, some people say he was in his cl like, he was in some clothes, but they take all the items out and they focus on the tags are cut off. I I I don't know how you ever identify someone with a black shirt that you could have bought from any country. I don't know why he would think that would ever be something. I don't know. But yeah, yeah, all of his tags were cut off, and it's just,
It's weird.
right?
Yeah, like, what would the
It's so
tag
weird.
reveal
And
that he
I also
wouldn't want
think
people
maybe
to
some
know?
people, they have a sensitivity to tags, and they really bother them, they can't wear tags in the clothes. I know people like that, so maybe he just didn't like the feel of it. I don't know. But it's cut clean, it's just it's not even like it's just a little white strip of left of the tag. It's all cut off cleanly on every piece. Underwear, his pants, his jacket, all the tags are off.
Yeah,
So
even on, jacket, I was thinking jacket would go over something, so it's not like that's gonna irritate him, right? So even the fact that his
right, yeah.
jacket, he would cut that off on the jacket is weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Or maybe if it was
Um,
like if he was in, like, the military or something. I don't know if this is something they do, but maybe if you're, like, in somewhere with a bunch of people, then everyone would write their name on their clothes. Maybe if it's, like, they're being washed together or, like, just, like, in the same room as a bunch of other people, maybe that's why. That could be a reason, but
yeah,
or,
yeah.
like, a summer camp.
Um,
I don't know. Like, that's just you know what I mean?
yeah,
But, yeah.
But the fact that,
yep.
like, couldn't they have just no military ever came forward and said, "Yes, he was in our they
No
would have
one
records of
has
that?
no one has ever come forward. No one he bought stamps and envelopes. He posted letters. No one has ever come forward saying they got these letters. No one knows who this man is. No one has ever claimed him.
Have they ever done DNA testing and, like, gone into, like, the familial DNA, like, find out who he's related to?
They got fingernail like his fingerprints. They got DNA. They were never able to find a match of any sort to this man. They don't even know, like, there was just nothing. So, They say that, so someone at the hotel said he did have, like, a German accent a little bit, so that was kind of a clue, but they were never able to find this anything to do with this man. So they say that when he went to get that coffee and cappuccino the day that he goes to the beach, he's writing on his piece of paper, and in another article it says that he actually rips up the paper after he writes on it, and that he does throw in a bin, but and that was never recovered until, I mean, by the time they realized that this was like the garbage was already out. It was just he just would write on a piece of paper, rip it up, and he tossed it in the bin on the way out. That's the only time he ever threw something in the garbage that they see. So it's weird, what was he writing on that paper? Like, he was looking around, then he would write, and then he ripped it up. Like, what was the point of writing it if you're just gonna rip it up? I don't understand, but that was so, people are dying to know what was written on that piece of paper. They said there was no sign of him, like, externally, there was no sign of him with a saltwater drowning, but he said, like, his body, like, that he had cancer, and it says, um, he had advanced prostate cancer, he had bone tumors, he had suffered a few heart attacks, and he was missing a kidney, so he was like, his body inside was a mess. So, that documentary I watched, they say they don't think he drowned or anything. The other, article I read say it was quickly determined that he had drowned. But like I said, uh, there's no one to talk to about that. Like, this is a man that never talked to anybody. They're just going off, I mean, thank God for the CCTV footage. Like, it documented his whole 3 days. So, but yeah, there's no signs of foul play. They take him to the morgue and no one claims him. They don't know that they don't know what happened to him. Like, and they also think, like, they thought maybe he assumed that his body would wash out to shore and he would never be found. Maybe he didn't wanna be found. Did he die of a heart attack? Did he drown?
Like, it almost feels like he was planning a suicide, like, kind of getting rid of all of his stuff, even though it was, like, secretly, and, like, he was scoping out, like, a nice quiet place just to kind of, like, die. But if it was a heart attack, that wouldn't be planned unless it was, like, an induced heart attack that he made himself, but, like, there's no poison or anything in his system, like, how would you do that?
There's no painkillers, there's nothing. It's like someone's like, someone who is that advanced prostate cancer, there would be some form, like, he must be in a lot of pain. No painkillers of any sort, not even Advil, nothing, in his toxology report ever to indicate that he was taking anything for the pain that he must have very well that he must have been in.
But I guess even if it was a planned suicide, why secretly get rid of all your stuff? Like, why, like, and, like, nobody knows who you are, like, why not give it to your family or, like, be around
Yeah,
your family and go to this, like, town you've never been to, this small little town? Why is
yeah.
everything so mysterious?
Yeah, so it's like that's what they say, like, on it in the documentary says, like, so it seems that, like, he had no problem being on CCTV himself all over the city, but when it came to disposing of the items in that bag, he went to great lengths to ensure that the property he was disposing of were never found, because there's never been any footage to this day on any CCTV of him taking something out of the bag and putting it in any of the garbage. They checked everywhere. The dump, they checked every public checked all the garbage bins, they checked parks, they've checked any place you would dispose of, like, they never found anything.
Well, my mind goes to I was thinking maybe this is like way out way out of left field or outside the box. I'm thinking of like espionage or like he's a spy or something.
Well,
And
yeah.
maybe he had
So
help or like a collusion from because like
well, this is
the
yeah.
because there would be like government agencies that would know where the cameras maybe I don't know. Is there a database of where the
Yeah.
cameras are?
Yeah.
So he would
Yeah.
know exactly where to go to dispose of like maybe someone was helping him. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
But
the only thing I
why
can
go
think
to a
of.
town that has cameras? Why not just go somewhere secluded, like, out in the middle of nowhere and chuck a bunch of random shit? That rather than being
Yeah.
in a town walking around, like, it just seems weird that, like, that's the place he would choose when he knows there's
Yeah.
cameras around.
Yeah, true.
And also,
Yeah.
the police don't know what they're looking for. So when they find something in a garbage can, they're like, "Oh, that's not it." But how do they
Well,
know? Like,
yeah,
they could have been
that's what I mean.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Couldn't they like, they have his DNA, so couldn't they, like, match it with DNA found on items in these dumpsters? Or, like,
I
Yeah, I
guess
somehow,
maybe
I
mean,
don't
they
know.
did try and they just didn't find anything. Or
yep.
it was just
Yeah.
all just garbage and
But
food
that's a
and
lot of stuff to test for.
Yeah.
Like, test every item in
yeah.
every dumpster
Yeah.
and every s
And
and
they said, like, extensive search, like, they did so many extensive searches, and they didn't find any Peter Bergmann who matched this man's description. No, nothing on a passport, nothing in all the places that they looked. This guy just this specific Peter Bergman, it does not exist.
it's weird they didn't ask for ID at the hotel.
Yeah, I know, but they just didn't ask for ID. It watches. probably would've changed everything maybe if he had, I don't know. Like, did he have a fake ID with that name on it? They never know. He paid with cash. Um, and they also say, like, in another article that he had got more specific with the address he wrote down. He wrote down Amsterdam 15 4472 Vienna, Austria, but this address didn't exist when they went to look at it. There was no address for that. There's one theory that suggests that the whole thing was an elaborate hoax created by this filmmaker that did this documentary that I watched, but that's just a lot of people don't a lot of people think that it's a hoax, a lot of people think it isn't. No loved ones have ever come forward for Peter Bergman. No one, not even coworkers or friend, no one has ever come forward and say, "I know this man." I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's
Yeah, it's weird. It's like he's being secretive on one hand, but then, like Katie said, there's more secretive ways. Like, if he was just trying to do suicide or something, like, he could have just gone to this remote place where there is no cameras, no one around. So the
yeah,
fact that yeah, I don't know. But my mind instantly went to, like, he's a spy for some reason, I don't know. And the country he's a spy for is, like, helping him die without any,
yeah. So, like,
like, I don't know. That's just weird.
yeah, it's like one police, like the police that was gave this interview, this very Muldrin guy, he said in 2019 that, like I said, he doesn't think Silco was a random destination. He chose that place. Some people think it was the first time he was ever there. Other people think he planned it. He mapped out where he was going to dispose of stuff, where he knew he wouldn't be caught. It was determined later that about 16 people had seen Bergman on the beach that afternoon, and they all said pretty much the same thing. He was a formally dressed person. Some people say he seemed jovial, and he was greeting the people on his path. But some witnesses said, like, when they said hi to him, he didn't say anything back. But a lot of people did see him on the beach that day, just walking. Sometimes he was just staring off into the distance. He was pacing. And he was there until 11:50 at least when those that couple saw him on the beach at night. He was still there. And then, they left, and some tip between midnight and 6:30, he died.
It could have been like he was planning a suicide, but then he happened to have a heart attack before he could actually do what he was gonna do, and so it looks like he was gonna kill himself, but then he had a heart attack because
But
it happened
it's
before
like
he got a chance to do it.
but there was nothing around him. What was he killing himself with?
Well, it could have been like maybe he wasn't gonna do it that night. He was just like just sitting there, kind
Yeah.
of like, his final nights. He's got a quiet place on a nice beach,
Yeah.
and but then he happened to just die early, earlier than planned.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that'd be such like a weird coincidence, but it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah,
And did you say, sorry, in your explanation, did you say, like, he checked out of the hotel he was
yeah.
staying at?
Yeah,
So
so
it was after he checked out.
he came in on the last day and asked for a later checkout. Asked if it was okay if he stayed, because he had some errands to run, and they let him because they thought maybe he was just he was waiting for a later bus or train, so they let him stay, and then around 1 he left. So he asked for later checkout and left around 1, with 3 bags. And then somewhere along the way, he got rid of the black duffel bag. Don't know where, never shown. And he arrives at the bus station with just 2 bags. And then he sits down at the coffee shop, takes out a piece of paper, scribbles on it, rips it up, throws it in the garbage on his way out, and he boards that bus to that beach. But the bags like, the bags were never found with his body. So it's also like speculated that he also disposed of those 2 bags somewhere along the way as well. All that was found was him and his clothes were scattered about. No wallet, no paperwork, nothing.
Maybe he
No
was
phone,
meeting
nope.
somebody, and that's who he gave all that stuff to, and then he just gave the bags to
Yeah,
that
and
person
no
too.
yeah, I don't it's never there's no evidence of what he did with that. So people think he planned it meticulously over a long time. Maybe he went there early, like he'd been there before and was pinpointing where he was going to dispose of stuff. I don't know how he would go and know where he's at a camera. I don't know, but he made sure he wasn't on camera when he got rid of whatever's in that bag. Each day he would come downstairs with the purple bag, looking like it's full, and he'd leave, and you see him without CCTV with that bag throughout the day, and then when he came back at night, they said the bag looked empty. Some people said he didn't even have the bag with him anymore. So,
I don't know. I think he's a spy. That's what I
yeah,
go to.
Maybe it was full
I
of
don't
money
know.
and he gave it away, full of drugs, gave it all away. There would be no trace. No one's gonna like, you can't trace cash.
And maybe he was like a
Yeah,
high level Russian spy or something. I don't
yeah,
know.
and I always
And
go back to yeah. I always go back to, like, the front desk attendant saying that, like, when he like, they were knocking on the door because they were gonna clean the room, and no one answered, so when they opened the door, he's standing there, and he froze and looks like he got, like, caught, like he was doing something, and then also looking like it was relieved that it was just the front desk attendant and not he's expecting maybe someone more like somebody dangerous or something, I don't know, but she said looked like it was relieved that it was just us and not someone else that he maybe was expecting.
Yeah. I I mean, I also find if he was like a Russian spy or some sort of spy, like why would they send him to some random town to get rid of this
Yeah,
stuff? Like you think they would have resources to like
yeah,
disappear stuff and
yeah,
people?
yeah,
That just seems
um,
really weird that he'd be in a little town to get rid of these little things one
that's
by one.
yeah, like, yeah, and then that's what I said, like, it's not a town where that's like I said, like, outsiders were uncommon, everyone knew everyone.
maybe he left being a spy and he was on the run. I don't know. I don't
It just
know.
seems
So weird.
yeah, so weird, right? I
Mhm.
'Cause I feel
mean,
like the only way that he would be able to, unless he got super lucky with the cameras, is like knowing where he can dispose of stuff that's not on the camera. Like that seems very intentional. The only way you would know that is if you're in collusion with someone else who has
yeah,
resources to know that information
yeah,
or somehow get
and
that
it's like,
information.
it's like the police secured his fingerprints and, like, his DNA, and that was given to all the police around, and it never popped up in any jurisdiction.
Did they
Yeah,
give it to jurisdictions like far away from that place? Like or only local jurisdictions? Because I'm thinking like if he was a spy, like maybe the country would have. They're not going to say that's our spy. Like
it
they would
just
not
said
say anything. It's all part
it
of it.
just said that it was circulated to all police forces, and he never popped up in any jurisdiction, and they think Peter thought that, like, his remains would wash out to sea. I don't think he maybe he didn't intend for anyone to find his body, I don't know, but they say the images on the CCTV are haunting because he's always by himself. He doesn't talk to anyone, he has that purple bag. You see him smoking a cigarette, you see him going to the post office, and it's just like and they just say the police are confident that Peter Bergmann didn't exist, and he never did. This Peter Bergmann. Like, where'd that name come from? You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing known about this man. I don't even know if, like, there was never an age given to about him. He was an older man. You can tell he's older. Yeah, I mean, he was
And
riddled
obviously,
with
seems
cancer.
someone who's like who had did a lot of planning because how would he know? Like he had to have known that that address that he gave, that fake address, would just be a vacant lot and not like an actual house or
Yeah,
residence. Because like if he just
yeah,
gave a random one, it could have just been not that it would lead to anything. Because the police went there, they would
yeah,
just say, "I don't know who
But
that is," but like
but the address was a vacant lot, so it was an actual, like, address. Like, you could just make up a number that's not gonna point to anything. It's not gonna be, like, a vacant lot, it's not gonna be a house, it's just not gonna be real, you know what I mean? But if this actually tied back to, like, a vacant lot, then it's like he knew the area sort of, right?
yeah, and yeah, so that's one of the arguments. Did he It's his first time he ever came to Silico, or did he plan it? Like, was his planned months in advance and he had, like, a step by step of each location? That's just all up for debate. So the question, these are the main questions are like, why Silico? Why dispose of all his belongings? Why give a false name? Did he ever post those letters? Some people say like he did. Some people say we don't even know if he ever posted those letters. He bought stamps. He bought envelopes. He went to the post office. Did he ever post those letters? No one knows. Did he? And, like, who he send it to? No one knows. Then the biggest question is, obviously, why has no one come forward to identify him despite the police's relentless appeals to the public for over a decade? Like, not one person has ever given even a tip of who this man could be. He does not exist. And
because
you
he's
know
a
what I mean?
spy.
Obviously, yeah, crazy, right? But, like, he I mean, I guess I don't know anything about like, his family wouldn't come forward or something,
Maybe he
they
doesn't have
post
family. I mean, everyone has family, but like,
Well, he sent letters to he had intention of sending letters to somebody, and no one ever came forward,
yeah,
so, I mean, people say, like,
it's so
he was
weird.
riddled he had cancer, like, advanced cancer, so he
So he knew he was dying.
yeah,
Had to have
so, I
I'm sorry,
mean,
Also looking, I know Wikipedia's not the best, but I also did see I was looking it up quickly.
No, no,
It
yeah,
did say
yeah.
it did say something about him, like he had it was evidence, like his teeth weren't like they were in good condition as if he had
Yeah,
gone
they
to the
were.
dentist
Yeah.
regularly.
His his teeth were in good condition, yep. I saw had that I did mention that, but that was in my notes. I didn't think it was his teeth were in good condition, but, like
But so obviously he's someone who's going to the dentist regularly.
he's
He's not like
yeah,
a
yeah,
Yeah, it's not like a stuff like a like someone that doesn't have the means to, like, go to the
yeah.
dentist. Someone that it's like a
not like a transient
wander
man that's like
yeah, someone that
And,
just
like,
homeless or
wanders
and one
around.
something.
and there was mention that, like, some, that his clothes were, like they were good, like, they even said they were pricey clothing, like, he dressed well and he had good clothes, like, he had like, he could afford these good expensive clothing. I mean, you couldn't tell the brand because the tags cut off, but they said, like, he dressed nice and he was he didn't look like he was a ruffian or anything. So, I mean, that's really what it ends
Yeah,
that's the
it's
whole
like he had an
case.
income presumably, right? Like, somebody was giving him money,
Yeah.
somebody knew him. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Spy.
Um,
Some
crazy
government
though.
was giving him
Yeah,
money. I don't know.
spy that went rogue.
Yeah, it just seems
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. It's obviously all speculation, but this is immediately giving me I think I mentioned this to you, Lisa, before, but it's reminding me very much of there's a case from Unsolved Mysteries,
Oh, no, I know, I knew you were gonna say
and
that. It's the
I
Fergate,
looked
Jennifer Fergate.
yeah, I looked up Jennifer Fairgate, yeah, like the woman who, like,
Yeah,
they think committed suicide in, like, an Oslo hotel, but
yeah,
there's no record of her, they have no idea who she is, obviously it was a fake
yeah,
name. Signed checks into the hotel under a fake name, and one of the theories in there was that she was, like, a spy of some sort,
yeah.
but I don't know. That's why
But
maybe what made me think of that, but very
yeah,
weird.
I thought of that too. But it always makes me think, like, why not just do that DNA and then run it through, like, those, like, the ancestry apps? Because it's like a family that has done that, then that'll
Yeah,
be in there. But then I'm thinking, like, well, there's nobody to advocate for that.
yeah,
Right? Like, n
yeah,
the police aren't just gonna do it randomly. There's no one missing him, looking for him. He's not reported missing, so no one is going to be looking to do that, so
yeah.
And you have to think this man got to be that age, and there's no one in his
I
life that ever
I yeah, I wonder, like,
wants
what
to
kind of
know
life
where he is.
like, what kind of life did he lead? Did he have kids, grandkids? Was he ever married? Did he ever have any joy in his life? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
Like, maybe he was, like, only child, maybe his parents have died, no
mhm.
siblings, no kids, there would be no one. But you think even, like, a friend or an acquaintance or someone, like, how does this man go this long in his life without making any type of impact on anyone enough to come forward and say, "I know him." Not that I'm super close with him, but, like, knew
Yeah,
him
yeah.
from his childhood, from his where did he go
And,
to
like, it's like
school? Like, he has
and it's
no one.
like, he goes to that coffee shop and he writes he takes out a piece of paper and writes something down, like, to me, it's like, was he marking off like, did he have, like, a bucket list to do like, he looked up did he went yeah, I don't know, like, is he crossing something off that he did, and that's the final thing he's gonna do? Like, go to that coffee shop or something? I don't know. Like, it's just weird that like, that's the coffee shop he decides to, like something in that coffee shop made him jot something down or something, I don't know, like and then he just rips it up right away in a bunch of pieces, like, weird.
Yeah. Like, maybe he, like, had some type like, a family connection there, so he wanted to go back there one last time
Yeah,
before he
like, it made me
dies
think,
because he
like,
knew he was dying maybe.
he had a checklist of things he want like, places to cross off, and Silco was the last place, like, he he went to a random beach he'd never been to before. I it just it's just the fact that he chose that place, a lot of people think is very there's a reason he did, and I would love to know the reason why, but no one's ever come forward and said, like, he has a like, "This is where we met," like, he used to live here, like, he used to no one knows his connection to anything. It's so crazy, but I hope one day we find out who this man is.
yeah, figure out what it like, what his story is, like, where he came from, what he was doing, like,
Yeah, like,
who
where did
his
he
family is.
what was he getting rid of in those, like, his personal belongings or, like, where did he get like, did he know he wasn't gonna be on camera? Did he get like, he can't be lucky every out of 3 he can't every 3 out of the 3 days, he can't just
Yeah.
that doesn't I feel like that's not a thing. He got lucky at the 3 days, and if he put time to dispose or something.
I feel like no one, like if no one came forward right away to identify that they knew him, like, I highly doubt they will now.
Yeah, no.
Like, why wouldn't they have when it first happened if
I
there
know.
was
I don't
anyone who
know.
could?
I
And,
don't
like,
know
if
if
they
we'll
do
ever
come
know.
forward now, it's like, "Well, where were you 16 years ago?" Like,
Yeah.
what made you wait? I don't know. Unless they
Yeah.
didn't know, like, not everyone knows when these you know what I mean? Like, I just heard of this case now, like,
Yeah.
someone who actually did know him might have not even heard or saw, you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
it
Like, how does it get to
he could
them?
be reported missing somewhere and, like, just p they haven't,
yeah.
like, made the connection.
Yeah, because it's not his name for one thing, and also, like,
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have, like, a the only picture they don't have, like they have, like, grainy C they have CCTV footage of him. They don't have, like, CCTV footage of him walking and stuff, but you can't really see his face. They do have a picture of him dead, like, it's on the autopsy table, but, I mean,
Yeah, it's creepy, yeah.
I don't think they posted that on the news for anyone to come forward. So, like, you can't really see what he looks like on the CCTV camera, so how do they know? It's a fake name, and they don't know for sure what he looks like, so how can you come forward? It's a fake address, could be
Well, yeah,
anybody.
The
especially if
picture
it's a
of
different
the
country, right? He was found somewhere else, and they're not like, it's not like a global thing that they broadcasted everywhere, right? If it was, like, on the local news,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
if he lives in, like, another country, they wouldn't even have seen that.
yeah,
yeah, and if it's, like, a random country or town that has no connection, like, no one would think, "Oh, I'm gonna look up, like, cases from this town or this
yeah,
country." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, during your investigation, you might say, "In this country, has there been any people who've shown up that match
yeah,
this description?" But, like,
Yeah.
if it's a random country they're not even thinking of,
yeah,
they're not gonna think of this real random town. "Let's look up missing persons cases from this town," or not missing, but
mhm.
dead. Like, I don't know.
So I think it's pretty co I think not 100% confident, but I think it's safe to s I feel like, pretty sure that it wasn't he didn't die by foul play. I don't think anyone killed him. Maybe they did, I don't know, but he had a heart attack on the beach or he drowned. Like, he went for a swim and drowned and washed up on the shore. I don't know, but it's just like, did he go there to die or, like, he just went there for a little vacation? But I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, but then he was disposing of stuff all the past like, for 3 days, like, yeah, I don't know.
It's
It's
so
like,
weird.
if yeah,
Maybe he, like, knew he was gonna die, just a miserable, bitter old man, had no family, no friends, no connections, just wanted to I don't know, just wanted to
so, like, didn't want anyone to know who he was? Why do you care if you're, like, dead and gone?
Yeah, and it seems weird that he, like, clean out the hotel room and take all the stuff and, like, make the effort to throw everything out, like,
Yeah,
why not just leave it and go?
yeah, 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 I don't know.
yeah,
Weird.
I don't know. Very odd.
The Guard Day, I think that's the name of the police there, have periodically renewed their appeals for information on the case, hoping new leads or advancements in forensic technology might provide answers. So it says anyone with information is asked to contact Sligo Garda Station at 353-71-915-7000 or the Garda Confidential Line at 1-800-666-111 or any Garda station, which I think is the police station. There's so many little documentaries and stuff about it, but it's all like yeah, there's just not much on it, but that's pretty much that's the case of the man who didn't exist.
It's a
It
weird
is what
Very
it
one.
is.
weird.
Very
Very
weird.
weird. Alright, so yeah, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. You can follow us on social media, Crime Family Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and you can email us at crimefamilypodcast@gmail.com. You can watch video versions of the episodes on YouTube and Spotify, and you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts as well and every other podcast platform as well. But if you want the video, you can go to YouTube, Crime Family Podcast, and subscribe and watch the video version or on Spotify as well. So thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, take care. Bye.
Bye.